Parliament with effect from Wednesday, 27th May 2020, and proclaim the commencement of the third session of the Fifth Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone at Parliament Building, Tower Hill, on Thursday, 28th May 2020. Signed, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio.
That's not the voice of the clerk na Parliament, Honorable Umar Parantarawali. But they close the second session of the Fifth Parliament. Also, it be open the third session of the Fifth Parliament. After the President will open the third session of the Fifth Parliament, it begin for talk about some of the things them where it don't do. Also, one pan the sector them where it mean talk about how it don't improve the work na the health sector.
I'm pleased to report that for the third successive year, my government has increased healthcare budget allocation from 7% in 2018 to 10.5% in 2019 and 11% in 2020. We have recruited 2,500 health workers and we'll be hiring 3,000 more in 2020 with a focus on midwives, pharmacists, and pharmacy technicians, epidemiologists, clinical and surgical community health officers. We have instituted continuing education for nursing professionals. Mr. Speaker, in line with my commitment to establish an ultramodern diagnostic facility in Sierra Leone, I am pleased to announce to this House that Cabinet has approved 19.8 million United States dollars for the construction of a national diagnostic radiotherapy cancer center. This will substantially reduce costs on our overseas medical expenditure and broaden our access to Sierra Leoneans.
The other thing where the president been talk about say in government don't try for achieve na water supply in the country.
Government has provided funding for the reconstruction of water supply systems in 6 headquarter towns: Moyamba, Pujol, Kailam, Kabala, Kambia, and Magoroka. Government has provided funding for and will soon commence work on the reconstruction of the bond water supply system. In the medium term, DFID has funded feasibility studies and detailed design on the rehabilitation of the Guma Dam, the water treatment plant, transmission network, leakage management for distribution network, Paul Road pumping station, extension of the distribution network, and refurbishment of the Arlington water supply system. The World Bank has also funded the Freedom Emergency Recovery Project.
A part of that achievement here, where the president say in government don't do, but waiting in plan for improved electricity supply in the country.
Because energy access at 18%, my government will pursue its overall policy objective of providing adequate, affordable, and sustainable power supply nationwide to stimulate economic development through the consolidation, improvement, and expansion of existing and potential energy supply infrastructure. 5 substations in Brookfield, Congo Cross, King Tom, Lumley, and Blackhall Road. The erection of poles to link these substations is also underway.
But one thing will be make member of parliament then begin for all the usual all of them na parliament. Now when the president been call the member of parliament them for make them maintain peace na the country.
President Bio! Corona President
After the president's speech, I've been talked to the leadership for the main opposition, All People's Congress APC party, and the leader of government business at parliament, but waiting and think about the president in speech.
It's very clear. I mean, they just outlined the thing that we plan for in the next parliament or the council, the next session. They look at us, it gets put a scale of preference because we are faced with a pandemic all over the world now. We're now COVID-19. So, in no say challenges and day, you not shy away from that. You make you see some of the things that we don't say, they don't roll out over kind of this session. Also, they roll until 5 years done. It's some of the day as they go, they achieve there, they drop there. So, we as members of parliament, we read the speech, we give an analytical view to the speech, and we give support to office necessary.
if you listen to all what he say carefully and digest them, you will see and confirm say instead of acknowledge the fact say government is a continuous process, and that indirectly former President Kuma been doing a fantastic job. But then they get a platform for making this kind of statement and show how they continue to go towards. Because the roads we talk about, the energy sector we talk about, be it the Bumuna phase 2, all what he talk about are things that President Kuma then sign, then begin for construct, they go far with them before they left government in 2018. We can for acknowledge something good as a platform for move forward. All the one the way they work with them, practice what they don't say. Oneness. The judiciary for work, then if work independently. The police for work, and if work independently.
Radio Democracy will continue for look inside the president in speech. We member of parliament then will begin debate. For Radio Democracy, Princess Piasley reports.
Well, from the report from Princess Pias, as we introduced earlier, we get Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, the press secretary in our state host. Therefore, talk about this speech with President Dominic. Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, good morning once more and welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning. Good morning again, family. When they listen to me, and thanks for having me.
Okay, this na the number 3 term where President Bio they make this speech na the well of Parliament. As it can be at the beginning of any session of Parliament. How this one different from the previous one then?
Well, firstly, make us start by saying that we all know say we in a pandemic situation. So therefore, I know say people are going to ask say across the world you get some parliaments the way that they still sit virtually. You get some parliaments the way they only operate as on the normal time. So people would ask themselves the question, why when we get pandemic still we do state open of parliament? Now we get a president we believe say as guardian of the constitution, they get a constitutional mandate and a role where they play, and therefore that duty they for make a open parliament enshrined the constitution, part 2, section 84, subsection 3 of the constitution, which states say the president shall at the beginning of each session of parliament present to parliament an address on the state of the nation. So yesterday president be fulfill a constitutional mandate. So like you said, this is something we don't do from May 2018, last year back 2019 we do them back, and then we don't do them this year. Now definitely this year is a bit different because of the pandemic. So we also want to commend the leadership of Parliament, the Speaker, the Clerk, and also the leadership of the other political parties, the SLPP, the NGC, the APC, because obviously, because of the pandemic, there are a lot of restrictions and guidelines and protocols the way they be able to observe, and we want to commend them for that, because obviously, despite the pandemic, Parliament also make sure say we comply with the protocols and the guidelines, and at the same time, the president in address now like you give a report card of what you don't do and look forward for the next 1 year. But we not go discuss this properly if we not put into context as a country USA will come out. Because they say if you want for know USA you go, you get for know USA you come out. So when we come 2 years ago, what did we inherit? We inherit one of the worst economic situations in this country since independence. We also inherit double-digit inflation, low domestic revenue mobilization. We also inherit high domestic debt burden, external debt burden back, the areas them back from the contract, the way they don't take huge areas to contractors. We also remember say that that was a time where we kind of power with IMF. We don't give up away as a country, because of waiting the past governments we don't do. That also means say donor organizations them and partners them they be don't we told budgetary support. We remember back in at the time where with the kind of power pension for people who don't serve in this country, but they are 20,000 loans. And we remember say back we country them we say now one of the worst corrupt, most corrupt country then we made me battered. So this not a context of Usai who don't come out and Usai we day. And I will tell you that no country no get transition from George Bush to President Obama will transform the country into a miracle in 2 years. David Cameron, UK, and Gordon Brown, where they become on takeover, the Conservative, and not transform over 2 years. But waiting at the important thing. The important thing is this, that you want for sure say you get a president and a leader we're committed for push the country go before, we're committed for transform the country, we're committed also for make sure say that everybody is united. And we're committed say we got for put development regardless of region, regardless of usa you come on, political party. So in a nutshell, this particular address where the president give a catalog what he don't do for the past 1 year, and also most importantly, it tell the parliamentarian and the country then say that what you don't do as a country and as a government, it cut across regions. So what like before Tradewe, and then just the past government just they make road no more. Now probably one district, then they left probably Kenema. They don't make no road na Kenema. No. This if they say they provide water supply, we go do an districts the way cut across the political lines. At the same time to the electricity, you know. But I'll catch them details in there.
All right.
But I don't think say important again background of Usa Ukomo.
Yeah.
Usa Ude and Usa Ude for go.
So I'm taking into consideration the speech and comparing the speech where he make last year and this one, so the thing the way he say he don't do and the thing the way he plan for do, especially the one the way he say he don't do. Waiting new, did he?
Like I say,
the last one, waiting new.
Well, like I say, when we be the campaign during the elections, we do a manifesto, and in that manifesto, we transform them into policy guidelines. We become a government, and then we get the medium term. So most of the things that we will do, that's in the way we don't do na the medium term, and also probably come off back from the manifesto they push go before. So there are many things that way, like you want to say when you want to do. So for instance, I go tell you say now, as I talk to you now, we don't recruit over 5,000 teachers. We don't approve over 3,000 schools, you know, just in education. But the important thing is that this na president we don't put in the first place human capital development at the heart of in government, because it believes say for make you get a productive somebody, you get for invest in that person there. And three things particularly: one, for educate the person properly; second, for make the person get good health, well body, so it will be productive; but also the person in stomach agriculture is very key. Now, but before we go to that one, and the president before he starts, he do important things. Them three at the opening speech. First, he said make we observe silent prayers for the one they would have lost, because we get a pandemic where about 5.8 million people across the world don't become infected. About 306,000 people don't die. So this other thing over the salon. So therefore, you get a president to be compassionate. And at also the same time, you get a president where, in the start of his speech, he say we for applaud the health workers them. But very important, because these are people who are at the front line, where day and night they risk their life for saving from this pandemic. Then also the president was optimistic. He said even though we get challenges, but also there are a lot of opportunities for make we come together as a country, opportunities for make we come together as a people, so we can able to work together and look beyond 19 and there. So part of the broader message, now the fact say this speech, na speech where it continue for lay the foundation for move we country go before.
Okay.
So just on the issue of, I don't know if you will make us start into some of the details.
We come to the details them as we na 30-page document with the president read. We look at them one after the other, and we take one part the issues them we president measure na one of the sectors them we na the health sector. Where he say he don't approve but $19 million for build diagnostic and radiotherapy center na Salone. We look at this and look at the one way he be make now the speech in subsequent speech then before this time, as we mentioned, don't make 3 speech. Inside that one, he talk about International Medical Center, when hospital service training research center na Salone. How this different from that one way he been done promise earlier?
Well, obviously, this one what the president talk about from day one. We remember say the first way the Excellence Commissioner na ACC, Mr. Francis Ben Kelfalabe go present waiting them we don't receive so far from people that we don't engage in corruption. Now, President talk and make commitments. Say this money go be a seed money for make we able to get this ultra modern diagnostic facility for one important reason, because we get like a country where it's sad because, for instance, we inherit a health infrastructure we very weak. We're not able to get that kind of facility for restrict people way if you want to do like some severe medical things and services, you travel to Ghana, So part of President's vision at this, that overseas health expenditure is too much. So therefore, ordinary people will not get the opportunity, not get the money, for equally get the chance for make them get good medication without traveling to Ghana or other overseas country in Europe. So that it was the brainchild, that was the thinking. What the president say, people don't care about afford them, but some people not go afford them because obviously of the disparity of the country we inherit. So therefore, this now what the president don't say. So in a sense, this is the focus. That the focus is we get this diagnostic facility, and the important thing is this. So from where I said them present the first money, President talk about time, say go put our seed money, but now we don't move the conversation forward. So now cabinet to approve 19.8 million, like you say, for me to construct this.
So when then go start this project?
Well,
since then they approve the money.
Well, it's a process. So now they don't approve them, and then they go move to the next stage for get discussion about probably design, for get discussion how they go to procure and people are going for can do them. But be rest assured, see, this like we always say, na talking to president. When he talk, it deliver them. So this modern facility.
By now, where they don't approve the money, una for don't get like a time frame where una want for start like 2021. Then time then they will now go put aside say now una they start. So now don't think about a time frame for start this project.
Well, like I say, there are plans on the way. First, the conversation was we get the ambition, so we want to get the facility. And then how for get the money. The second stage is the process. Governments not to something like where they approve overnight. And then it don't go cabinet don't approve. Now we talk about the design, talk about who for doam, and talk about how the process for go. But just be rest assured, see, president not talking to president, we go deliver on this.
So what stage you are now?
So then at the stage now where you look at the design, where you talk about how for coming to fusion. But the important stage that the fact say it don't come on a cabinet. So therefore cabinet collectively don't approve say this thing we get for Doam, and the Ministry of Health will lead on this.
So I asked you earlier, this one with the International Medical Service Training Research Center, where the president will mention now the previous speech and we don't make. Is it the same with this diagnostic center we will talk about, or a different project then?
Well, obviously, say the thing we would almost talk about is the diagnostic facility. Now, most of them that do diagnostic facility there across the world, then you also get a research aspect of it, then you get teaching aspects of it, So part of them also go form different other components then.
So now the same, is it the same project now?
When we have to know if not different projects or not
the same project we talk about now.
Which one?
The International Medical Research and Training Service Center and the Diagnostic Center where the president make now this speech. Where this center now the one we don't promise before, and this one now one way he say they don't approve budget for. Is it the same project?
Yes, because the diagnostic facility is always the same project.
Okay, in name now Yusuf Keketo Masandi, now the press secretary to president. Therefore, talk about the president in opening speech, state of opening speech we make yesterday now the well of Parliament. The program you listen to now Good Morning Salone, we come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. You can be part of the program by way you can send text message to the number 0779819881, 0779819881, the number for sending text message and be part of the program. And not forget, say they listen we from Radio Shalom 89.5, we cover the entire Koneduga and Falaba district and some partner Tonkolili. Same way so to Radio Malene 88.5, now the entire Pujan district to Liberia border, and Radio Colenta on 90.0. On the Idugona Facebook page and drop any comments or concern way you get. The program Good Morning Salone will continue. We'll come back after this break.
Salone Commercial Bank don't come with new banking products them for make life easy. With Million Online Bank and Million Mobile app, you can able for use Salone Link money transfer for send money to anybody elect you not get bank account. Transfer or receive money na the same bank or any other bank. Transfer money to person or office elect you not get the account number. Buy heads alike, pay other bill them, and now get advanced salary. You don't need for worry again but almost money then you earn. Because you can able for pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yakba don't done for the boss man them. With Beyond Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all your supplier them, sell forex to Salone Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store or go to Salone Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering value.
The Anti-Corruption Commission want for make all government workmen they know say the last day for declare the income, assets and liabilities now May 31 or before that 2020. Punishment go there for the one they will not declare by this term.
All government workmen will they elect, them politician them, all the one they would they grade 7 and above, and the one they serve what they lower grade, but same way so they deal with money.
Any government workman will then sack, retire or resign for declare. All the government workmen for declare after every 2 years. That means say now 2022 we go get the general declaration back.
You can also declare your assets online now www.anticorruption.gov.sl.
If you fail for declare, then go force all your salary. If you still not declare, then go suspend you. And if you still make trangayes, then go sack you after 3 months.
Make sure say you declare your income, assets and liability so that you don't go get Allah.
This message they come out from the Anti-Corruption Commission.
The program na Good Morning Salone we come to you from 98.1 FM 2 minutes after 8 na the time from the studio control clock, and we still get the press secretary Yusuf Keke Thomas Sandi inside the program where they talk about the health sector, we the inside the president in state opening address among many things them. Mr. Sandi, before we go for that break, we will talk about the diagnostic center and the facilities them. Now we look at the recruitment of well-body workmen into the health system. The president also make mention of that. Almost people that we talk about now, we government don't recruit and we get plans for recruit, as we get some we still raise concern for being recruit now the system.
Well, before we go to the recruitment, one thing back we important for me to talk now the fact say this now government will inherit a health sector where the past government be the give a budgetary allocation of less than 7%. But as we talk, year in, year out will increase. So 2018 we get 7% will increase, and by 2019 10.5%, 2020 11%. So it tells you that this to president no more we just the talk. Now president will follow up with action. We invest in the healthcare, invest in the health system, invest in health infrastructure, and invest in the health sector. And we also bring me say, you're not gonna just get good hospital, you get good bed, you get good things there, but you're not gonna get the people away from man those institutions, you're not gonna get people away from man those infrastructure. So therefore, government also don't also invest in recruiting people. So as I talk, so we don't recruit about 2,500 healthcare workers, and we get for hire more this particular year about 3,000. So what did they tell you? They tell you say this now president will believe say that whilst at the same time you the refurbish, rehabilitate health infrastructure, you forget healthcare workers them back, where you make sure say you get at the system. But you not only stop there, you get for also improve the condition of service, you get for also give them back thing that we go make sure say they get incentive for work and like the work.
So with all the couple way una say una don't put per the health sector, how it all reflects na the health sector? The couple una don't put.
Well, obviously the fact
taking into considerations the facilities na the hospitals.
Well, there are always challenges with health infrastructure. And in terms of we own country all day, I mean, we don't inherit a country or health infrastructure where they like America or they like UK, you know. So there are always challenges.
So then challenges there and I think we don't they exist. So what una they do now for stop them challenges there so we una they face like for do something different?
Well, the first thing like we say, you get to get more manpower. So therefore, if for instance you get more health workers the way they work, then they go able to give people more opportunity for more medical services. And also, if you able to make sure, say, you get equipment them. So, for instance, we don't refurbish health facilities as well. On the city Kiama Road one, on the city Okupa one. We also don't try for make sure, say, there are 3 additional hospitals then with modern diagnostic facility we will get for obviously kind to operationalize the one at Macaulay Street, the Lumley area, and also Waterloo. So what's in this the show, it tell you say this that government's way the product of what you would get now the fact say when you go na the hospitals them you gonna for get health services. Yes, there will be challenges, but at the same time you get people away motivated because obviously now they get incentives for me them work properly, and also then get probably good facilities as well. But also beyond that, it's important for me to also make sure say government also committed for make sure say that issue of maternity, child health maternity is addressed. So what we don't do. So through the IDB, in Islamic Development Bank, government also don't mobilize $2 million for construct new nursing and midwifery school in Kenema, where for serve the entire eastern region. I think that's very important because as we talk now, government also deploy about 250 certified midwives all across the country. It tells you say people that get more access for health services and professional people that we go deal with them. We'll talk about obviously we get the ambulance services who don't try for refurbish most of them about already 67.
But what about the drone system? We still get concern from some districts, then they get challenged from with samples and even medical equipment then.
Which one? Say again?
The drone system where the government been done launch. How essentially they in the fight against COVID-19 when it comes to the medical system? Because you get districts then we still raise concern about the challenge when they get for transport, for example, samples them of people that suspect of being COVID-19 patients.
Well, obviously the COVID pandemic is unique and peculiar. So therefore, obviously, the drone system probably sometimes they're going to review and look at how they're going to address that issue there. But like we say, part of what in President be say as well is, you know, for be ambitious as a nation is very good. That drone system we don't put we, you know, make we unique in the world. For say at we on country where they use technology.
So it's still they operate?
It goes system well they look at them and see how they go to address the challenges them. But the important point like what the president say, where we do address and the first step at that, we they use technology for make sure say we give people more access to medical facilities there. And we all for glad and commend government and presidents for that one day. Even the STI, the CIO the way they work parents because the important thing is that it tells the government is looking forward. We have been modernized, but what increase access to services for people away not get services.
Okay, you make mention of the nurses them where una don't recruit, so you say now one part the thing una don't do for boost the health sector. And taking into consideration the whole work among them health workers them we be done the day before always then don't they complain about the salary they know they get on time we can make something and they can strike. Now I don't add 3,000 per day workman in there. How una go able for sustain and with the previous challenges them we already don't they exist?
Well, now I tell you say government is investing more. So therefore, for instance, 2019 government invest about 10.5% in the health sector. Now we don't invest more, about 11%. So all that investment that the government they do now because of the thing, but because also government knows say and the president knows say frontline workers, healthcare workers, they play critical role for the infrastructure and make sure say the people can get access to good medical services. So for instance, you remember say we get no system and other health professionals they way they go to the Ministry of Finance, where they go sign MOU the agreements them in terms of how they go increase.
So now something we una go get for continue we go sustainable and then go get their salary on time.
Well, it's always a commitment to government, and a commitment to government always they take. So for people, so government not just get the money, they don't pay the money they pay people more. No, that's the way they operate. It means that there are sometimes challenges, but government can do everything in the best endeavor and power for make sure say the healthcare workers them they will get the money in time, they will get paid in time because in nobody is government interest. You make that nurse left in house in the morning make it in good frame of mind, left in family nice, then go where they eat, then go over there, let it go for go look at patients, so they're in a good frame of mind. So whatever governments can do for make sure say they get that kind of support, so then get incentives for make them go work and gladly for the work government go do.
So this commitment una don't make now one way go get for affect the wage bill. Una don't put that into consideration and now for create the balance.
Yeah, of course. Now when we talk about the wage bill, if for instance by 2018 we will take power, we now get 5,000 workers, but government won't commit for take more people them. So for instance 2,500 get the healthcare workers them more, then they go increase the wage bill. But the important thing is government they increase the wage bill for a purpose, and a purpose for serve people them health needs that this country. So important, just like teachers, we don't go over 5,000 teachers them. Now the question is, would you say because of difficult education, government not go invest in teachers and not go recruit more teachers?
So
but you know only stop there. If they tell you say whatever government do in terms of the wage bill, we they do them because it's in the best interest of the ordinary people of this country.
So one go on for say instead of you una the increase on the people why una not go put more facility na the hospitals and equip the one day we don't exist more, like add finance salary and encourage them for begin work than adding more people where in terms of where the economy not that strong.
Because you know go see that you tell me say next year almost people like for sick. So now we corona don't carry pandemic don't care. 2018, 19 last year will be there. Nobody think about corona and everything they call. If government be fail for invest in the healthcare infrastructure, how we go able to get more nurses for go work when now emergency day? You know, so government always proactive. Government always they think ahead. That is why we have to build infrastructure and get a good workforce, because anything can happen. You want a complete and responsible government. So because we complete and responsible, now we don't look ahead and say we get more health workers there, because anything can happen. Now pandemic day with we, so therefore we are able to address this pandemic with the equal workforce we get. So it's a very good thing for government.
Okay, Mr. Sandy, away from the health sector, as we mentioned, say the president talk on plenty sectors there.
Exactly.
Now we look at another very big sector, we now the economy. We see the president mention the strive them we government don't do for ensure say they're able to generate home incomes them for run the affairs them. But one thing we go come to pause in mind now, the issue of the loan. We not see any statement from president we go talk about how for reduce or stop for take loan from organizations them, if not stop or minimize the loan way Salone they take. As we loan record now the sub-region very high, as we see inside this COVID-19, the IMF give $29 million debt relief for Salone, and yeah, and then we still go for some loans them inside this COVID-19. But the president inside his speech now mentioned how will he get out of these loan conditions then?
Well, like the president said in his speech, that what happened last year was that the president take about almost 4 hours for talk about what we don't do, the achievements we don't make. So many people let me think say this way president be do it be too long. So what the president decide for do this and for do a summary of what year we don't achieve.
But this loan is very much important.
Yes, but he addressed that through such sentences. So for instance, he tell you say we get fiscal consolidation efforts what they do for in terms of domestic revenue, for also for look at the tax administration, tax education, and all that kind of thing. But the important thing about loans and debts, now the fact say you go be assured say we get a government, a president, a minister of finance who is very fiscally prudent. So therefore, any loan where would they take, because they remember say as a country that we inherit a public debt and arrears there will be so huge.
But government so still take loan.
Yeah, but of course, because government got for take loan because some of the programs and activities government they do, government not go just able to do them based on the revenue we government they generate. So therefore, in fact, now commendable thing, because you have to remember say before we government can have power, the budgetary support we will get from donors, we partners them, the ADB, the IMF, then we don't go. because they don't get no faith in what they do. So the fact that they don't can now, that na show of confidence in the leadership of the country, the Ministry of Finance, or what they do. But obviously, as you go along, every loan where government they take, this is a loan the way they look at the conditions, everything go there in the best interest of the country. And this alone the way government go for invest and do things the way we go to generate for payback in a way not go out to the economy and not go out to the economy.
You talk about being generate income for pay then loan there. For plenty people, then lawyer they look at macro economy, when are the bigger economy. And then people where they give them lawyer can give condition where they give to government for ensure say they're able to get the macro economy where for them is for let the government able to generate more income and pay them back, but this not they reflect on the life of the ordinary person where you get issues like the economy they boom, but for somebody in the streets need to feel this economy where they boom. As a result, we get issues like fuel liberalization for full subsidy on fuel. Now some of the things than this, where somebody thinks say for make salon able like for sustain and running your programs effectively for able get in self-sufficient homegrown economy.
Well, we believe in bread and butter issue because obviously at the end of the day, ordinary people they get for trickle down to what people they get. But that means the government back they make concrete efforts. So they get social protection schemes that the government they do. We also they make sure say we they do investment into the SMEs them, so at least then we will make sure say the one day way they create jobs, then create jobs. Because the important thing is this, that if you get a government where not compassionate, we not care, they will not care about ordinary people, you know. So part of what in government they do, now the fact say as we go along, we look at how, for instance, say for instance the fuel. We remember say governments now they reduce fuel because government believes say fuel price gets lots of other consequence and effects on ordinary people. So therefore, anytime where you see say the price don't come down, any other government for don't left the price, make it go so and the hot people there. But you get a government like I say, we're very caring, we're very compassionate. Where when we get changes, we can reduce the price. So government is very cognizant of what's in the happening, how they take steps. But just on the loan, I want to give you an example because you spoke about the loan. Just on this loan, it's also important for make you know say even last year where President talk by a message, there was a reference where he make sure say most of the money that we get because of we government, because of we competence, because of people there with credibility or don't bill, most of their loan here they transform into grant. So I'll give you an instance. So for instance, like last year with presidency, no, but I'll make this point important.
Okay.
Because you just talk about loans. Some of them still working start as loans because of government we own competence, because of the credibility we they get in the president and the ministry of finance where they run the economy, they can transform them. So for instance, 11 projects where international financial institutions they approve, we amounting to around 196.3 million last year. Of that amount, 59% were loans and 40% were grants.
So you might can talk about later. We go.
No, I mind. I just want to make reference because
for a short break, we come back to
okay, well, no problem then.
We'll go for a short break.
Okay, no problem.
Better don't come. Now you don't trust bank again. Your salon banco. You don't trust bank get plenty product and service there for you. You must get what you want to go better. Let me savings account, ide. Current account, ide. Fixed deposit account, ide. Credit facility, ide. All for you. Me and you. Me and you. Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Kids future savings account, ide. School fee savings account, ide. Pay advance salary scheme there. We branch and they all up but not alone. Boko no kenema, we de. Kabalama bogo kakambia, we de. Jala free town loan side, and my lengthy one. Me and you, Union Trust Bank. Me and you, Union Trust Bank. Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Union Salone Banco. Union Trust Banco.
Union Trust Bank, empowering Sierra Leonean businesses.
Salone gets enforced corona case March 31, 2020. And from that time to now, plenty people don't get this sick. But plenty people say so don't well from the sick. After we then clear them go to treatment center and take good care of them. But the sick still in the country.
Plenty people get message them where they can talk. And some of them message they are not even be true. Now that make Radio Democracy with support from Usiwa. They bring to you special corona update program. Usa go to get accurate information about the coronavirus in the country.
This program going to be every Wednesday, 12 to 1 o'clock afternoon.
And Master Sabi people from the well body sector and other people themselves go there for tell you body sick.
Alright, you dey listen to Good Morning Salone, where they come to you live from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We go take another issue inside the program. Thursday, May 28, Magistrate Anna Boni don't give 500 million loans bail and 2 shorty. We get property we value 1 billion loans and building permit to Dr. Sylvia Blyden and Moxin Sise because police allege say Dr. Sylvia Blyden be right bad thing them but President Bio. Record reporter Usman Kamara gets more and go now report.
For the second term, Dr. Sylvia Blyden and Muxin Sise don't appear before Magistrate Anna Boni for answer to 10-count charge. We get for do it seditious libel contrary to section 33(1)(a) of the Public Order Act number 46 of 1965. Publication of false news contrary to section 32(3) of the Public Order Act number 46 of 1965. Defamatory libel contrary to section 27 of the Public Order Act number 46 of 1965. Conspiracy to pervert the cause of justice and doing an act tended and intended to pervert the cause of justice contrary to law and other counts charge them. Because police allege say March 24, April 23 and other dates then are free tongue. Dr. Sylvia Blyden be right bad thing but President Bio and be right say retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte the wet and toilets na the same cell usa ide. Finally, Thursday, May 28, Magistrate Anna Boni don't give 500 million loans bail with 2 shorty and 1 pandel forget property we value 1 billion loans and self forget building permits to Dr. Sylvia Blyden and Muxin Sise. After we Magistrate Anna Boni don't give them 2 accused people ya bail, e be one Dr. Blyden say in paper not for write anything apart from the court proceedings. Inside this case, now Dr. Sylvia Blyden been team up for himself as lawyer. Muxin Sise na lawyer Adi Macaulay and lawyer Nicole be represented na court as the lawyer. Magistrate Anna Boni don't adjourn this case to June 3rd this year. Same way so, Magistrate Anna Boni na the Pademba Road Magistrate Court number 1 don't send Ali Conte go on remand na the Male Correctional Center because police allege say Monday, March 23rd this year na Sussex Village, York Road, e been stonewall Ibrahim Bundu na in aid we make him end up die. During the term where this accused be appear na court, e no mean get lawyer for team up for him. We make Magistrate Anna Boni me advise him for make he get lawyer because he say this na serious matter. For sake of this, Magistrate Anna Boni may adjourn this case to June 3rd this year. The police prosecutor na Inspector D.A. Taylor. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Usman Kamara, the report.
The program is still listening to Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We still look at more issues inside the program. Inside the communication lead, now the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Harold Thomas, don't confirm say the 34 isolation center them don't get bed intensive care unit. We get facility for people where the corona sickness don't worst pan. A first start for give update about the coronavirus case them in the country as of 2 days, nobody no die for sake of the coronavirus. Harold Thomas talk more to Waniga Hoja inside this interview.
We get cumulative confirmed positive cases 812. Number of deaths so far we get 45. Active new cases we get 30. Active cases in isolation we get 406. Cumulative recoveries, that's the one they wait and do well, we get 316.
So today we not get no new cases.
Today
of death.
We not get any deaths. Yesterday, in fact, we not get any deaths.
Okay, so most times when una can do testing, una say something like una can test people away can don't die, and later una find out say the person can be positive or coronavirus cases. Una can try for extend una testing to then destitute the way can just die so no on a street.
Now the one the way we actually can test now the what we call suspicious cases or suspicious deaths. If somebody die, we suspect say this sometime it will be corona, then we test. But we not get policy for do like how we do for Ebola. Anybody will die.
But somebody can die when una don't know of possible symptoms the way you don't get.
Yes, yes, it's possible, but as we say, any death we suspicious, where we suspect say this will be as a result of COVID, for prove the doubt, we go do the test. What we've been doing during the last lockdown, we've been using the opportunity today for going to 5 areas in our western area, urban, where we call hotspot areas. And then hotspot areas in there, and we've been go look at, randomly. We just go choose.
And for lockdown no more?
No, during that 10 days, now we do not for the lockdown, we do but that 10 days, just the time.
So after the lockdown, we not do the same thing in there?
No, we know they just do random testing because actually they now standard operational procedure. But we just want for ascertain that 10 days within the hotspot area, the one see which we can call the magnitude or the level. I make we really do that.
Okay, so during the press briefing, una make mention of the ICU where una don't get na the 34 hospital.
The 34 hospital this morning, 10 o'clock, they open what we call the ICU, the intensive care unit. Now the 34 hospital, and this specifically now for COVID patients. This because now one of the treatment centers they have to deal with then difficult cases or severely ill cases and needed for intensive care. Like some people and they will go there, sometimes you need ventilators or you need oxygen or you need other special care where you can call intensive care, where we not go take that patient, they go care and go now like a Connaught or Choitan's the intensive care unit. So that make we don't get special place now for intensive care. Now the 34 hospitals.
So what's
everything? It gets like 11 beds actually. We then go able for put them patient in the day. Well, waiting the day we'll get oxygen concentrators, we'll get ventilators, we'll get other equipment and for monitor people especially the one that we get the serious diseases like heart conditions, kidney conditions, liver conditions, or any other condition where now it can make the person, go into a critical stage when he gets COVID.
Okay, so before now, they say some patients them not even need ventilator or not even need that intensive care day. So now patients they don't begin need ventilators or don't begin need intensive care.
Preparedness is very important. Most patients don't need that kind of care day. But we're not going to say the time we will get one something unexpected, and that time we want to put things together and not go work out well. Now that make we put them in place. So in case any patient there, even the one they within our community care center, they not get symptoms. Nothing, they not get any symptoms, but then they. But sometimes they can change or they can deteriorate. We move them now, we care them go. Now outside we do care for the one that we critically ill. So that they make now prepare this measure. Then 11 bed a day, it's not possible for them 11 at one time, get intensive care. But we'll put on there just in case. Sometimes we'll get patients from other side in the country. Then we will put in there and we're not going to say we wait past the one patient come off first before we put the other one.
Okay, recently una don't put law for people and for the use mask. Una get any plans for like distribute masks to people, especially people we not able to afford them?
Yes, this is ongoing, so you have organization and they know they donate a lot of masks. Even we self at EOC Naya, even Awol and some other people in the where them don't bring mass and come where we distribute food to people them. And above all, we dey try for teach community people and especially then tailors them for giving the right specification how for make the mask where then tell ya then go make am and sell them at minimum cost. It go help themselves forget small thing and people themselves go buy them where they not go feel am too much.
That's now the communication lead and Minister of Health and Sanitation, Arot Thomas, made the talk to Waniga Oja in Southern interview. The program na Good Morning Salone, we come to you from 98.1 FM, and we will bring you this edition of the program. Musa Eskamana Minim.
And Mina Waniga Oja.
They can continue the program after this break.
Because in confusion.
But this confused me, boo. Look where Uncle Nat in Wall Solid. Look him block the way they beat for him, where they save solid, and at the same amount of cement and sand then they use for beat me on. But look what in the happen, be wall down for them, all the block they all don't scatter. It's like say some kind of magic they behind this. You want to know the magic behind this? Now the superior quality, extra strong, extra life and extra yield cement we are use, and that's not Dangote 3X Portland limestone cement. Dangote cement na the highest grade cement at the country. When a 42.5 R grade cement, when a one day come na this country, and a one of the highest grade pan cement where you go get na the wall. Where you want you concrete, wall and block solid, use Dangote 42.5 R cement, you no go regret them. You go get Dangote 42.5 R cement na all the shop and building material store na the one whole country.
The program na Good Morning Salone, we come to you from 98.1 FM, and we will bring you this edition of the program Good Morning Salone. Musa Eskamara na minim.
And Mina Waniga Oja.
And if you just join, we insert the edition of the program. We talk to the press secretary and presidential spokesman Yusuf Keketo Masandi, where they talk about the state's opening address with President G yesterday at the Hall of Parliament. Mr. Sandi, before we go for the report and the break, you be the round up on the economy, on the loan issue. We are concerned we are raised.
Yes, obviously, I don't tell you say some of the loans the way we can get because of government competence they can transform back to grants. But important thing, this government also don't tell you say the pandemic don't give opportunity for tell you say this now government we not only proactive, we are adaptable, but also we are flexible. So for instance, what in government don't do over this pandemic? Over this pandemic, government put the program together what they call the Quick Action Economic Response Program, where I will tell you get 5 objectives like and quick for people. So one of the objectives are for build and maintain adequate stock level of essential commodities at stable prices. Very important during pandemic. Then secondly, government also they provide
prices
support.
in the market.
Yes, so make sure we get stock level. So for instance, we get rice, we get things that people eat, and make sure we stabilize. Because remember what
that the prices not go up.
Yes,
but we see still prices and they go up in the market.
Yes, those are challenges, but government they also take concrete actions and steps for make us say
So when the actions then go begin reflect by then challenges.
They go reflect now. So for instance, if government don't make sure say that one they really import rice, make them get facility support for import rice, the price don't go past I go so. It's a simple logic nowadays. So because government is get action there, how if it go up, it don't go up so. It go still obviously go up because the way president don't say the last time, people also get forget this country at heart. For odd goods, for high price. It's a personal decision the way they make. But government they take action. That's the point. Then the other point to our put by the objective now that government they provide support to hardest businesses for make sure they continue operation. So they go lay off staff. Businesses they make them lay off. They want the way they operate. So for instance, now government they think now for instance in the tourism sector. Hotels, then people are really work there because
so any plans there for like a gig grant to market and them where them business is not affected at this time of the pandemic?
Well, that they all form part of the one. Like I said, now a broader specific things that the government is trying to do, without specifically saying give market money. But government will look at how you go to make sure you support businesses the way hardest it, But government they roll out the plan. So as and when government take any action, they will communicate that day. But also important for talk about social safety net of vulnerable people. We remember say during this pandemic, we can get locked down. Next they go out, give money to people. It's important because this is not a compassionate government.
So and that money where then they give to them people and they is sustainable. Why una not go do an investment where them people and they go benefit for a long time than una just give them money where they go just use and then go expect more back?
Well, if you get lockdown, 3 days lockdown, you're not crippled or you're not disabled, you not get money, you not get something. The choice is, we assume now, say for instance, you don't have a wheelchair. The choice where you get, you go let government give them money for taking officer for the next 3 days, or make government go invest, and then during that 3 days something happen to you. So these are the practical things that the government they think about. Because to go from we address the emergency. The emergency is people are way vulnerable, we not get things for the government address at that time.
Before we round up for the economy, sir, you make mention of the bread and butter issues where una say from una can inherit and broken economy, then una don't can see to the bread and butter issues. Whose impact with una don't do? I don't impact young people. With what una don't do, una say una get the bread and butter issues at heart. Whose impact it don't make for young people? Because right now they see say still the unemployment rate they increase and young people are still they suffer.
Well, unemployment not a new story to you. 11 years where PCBD. People were unemployed, so we're not going to address that in 2 years.
So, but
remember that.
So, create a difference.
Exactly. So now I make, in fact, part of what the president say. If everything goes on well, if not to be the corona we come, by now we don't get license to mining companies for cooperate. We for create 15,000 jobs. So what they say is this: government they take actions, concrete action there, because the people are employed and they're able to get them bread and butter.
Mr. Sandy, you talk about the bread and butter we get for do with the food, and we don't see plenty investment in the agricultural sector or loan taking in the agricultural sector. But when you look at the staple food we eat, as we do a report last week, we say CTC where they import rice now Salone, they prepare for import 100,000 tons of rice now for the rainy season. We should say much difference not there. We still depends on imported food as a nation.
Well, obviously, government identify agriculture as a very key sector because as far as president is concerned, we don't get no need for import rice or other things that we can't arable land will get. Now I make even like I make reference to back say this quick response will get to the economy. Part of them also now the fact say now they provide assistance to local production and processing of staple food items. So even in Padem we think about agriculture, but there is huge investments where they go into agriculture, and we also say most of what we don't do now for look at how we go identify certain areas then, where productive, where we go make sure say for instance there are 4 pillars in the order of priority. So we get rice self-sufficiency, livestock development, crop diversification, and sustainable forest diversity. Now what we don't do now the fact say, like I say, the issue about production, export, and make able grow food them not to new something, now something when every problem will get. So the investment they take time, rest not to 1 day or 1 week rest they go. You get to pick the rest in time.
This is 2 years. This is not 2 years now since.
Yes, but like I said, so after the Great Depression, countries they not overcome in 1 year or 2 years.
So but right now una for don't identify the problem them and una for try for attack the problem them first before una put any plans in place for improve on rice self-sufficiency.
No, but we do so for instance I go tell you.
But they reflect, that's not the point. They reflect
well
now.
No, well the beginning they reflect because for instance now, no but I tell you, for instance now if you go at the market you go see say we get more rice than local food when at the market
the local food more expensive than the imported.
Yes, because those are challenges the way we inherit very important. At least the way they go address overnight. But like I want to give you an instance. So for instance, government developed a total surface of 1,000 hectares of inland valley swamp across the country. But it tells you government they take action. So what they say now is things that they happen overnight. The country 11 years, things don't go bad. It don't go bad. It don't go bad. So therefore, then things are not going to change inside 1 year or 2 years. But waiting una for appreciate and commend, you get a leadership we believe in agriculture. So the president, for instance.
So but by now una for get a solid rock.
Yes, now the go so now. I don't say for instance about 1,000 hectares of inland valley swamp across the country all don't develop, for their rice business and they. But waiting mean also tell you say even at leadership level. So for instance, the president gets big farm where they take. Other people in our government, or they encourage more people and for do that one day. So there are things which have been done by the government to make sure say we are on the right track, we are on the right footing, and there are things that will continue.
Mr. Sandy, in all your statements, them where you mentioned say una make things worst, economy worst, agriculture worst, and everything you mentioned about the past regime is worst. And inside your statement, then when you talk about legacies of the government now, you mentioned infrastructures like the Kihama Road Hospital and also the Rokupa Hospital, were built under the past regime. For una as a government, what do you want to see good in the past government to una the scale up?
No, but you don't make reference to them. You know that you say all the 11 years it was doom and gloom. You don't talk so.
But
all
when
they
the
say,
examples
now they say now so you don't make a
system.
So, but it tells you say with government very honest, with government very open and transparent, where actions were taken for development of a country. You go talk so you make mention of the camera.
So, but there are projects on and meter na you na continue, no more na continue.
Some of them, but where the former president Kuruma take over from President Kaba, lots thousands of projects then the way nine continue, some nine open. So that is part of governance.
Them for
No, but now they talk now so now. Where there are things the way we need to good, they'll go talk. But if you also come and talk, say they take huge debt and left up a body, now go talk. Because a part of what government they do for me, because we are open and transparent. But just also on the agriculture, because they talk say what government they do. I go also tell you say there's what them call the Sierra Leone Regional Rice Value Chain Development Project, where we don't get about $34 million for locate 2 rice producing areas. You know, one Tomabom and also na Mangi na Cambia. So all along they tell you say this also not a government where development and project we need specify to district. Because na the north, because the south, no, we can do them across board. Because we believe that development therefore be shared across the country. Because now one country we get. So projects the whole they get, we go equally put on the north.
But Mr. Sani, same way, so you talk about projects being centered in one areas. Under the past government, we see road construction Pujaun. We see the township roads and headquarter district town, including Pujaun, including Kailaun, all been happen under the past government. So what's I like you pull this ideology of centered or one-way development?
You don't ever travel go Kenema?
But Kenema is
no,
not.
You don't ever travel go Kenema?
We talk about Pujaun. We talk about.
Yeah, but I ask you a question. You ask me say Usa Apula ideology. You never travel go Kenema.
But Kenema is not Salone alone.
But I ask you a question. It's Usa Apula ideology. So all what they say, they make references to places. So for instance, the proportion of what they go do in the north, it will be more than the south and the east.
But you so talk about the north, we talk about like Sela Limba also when carrying a district now we still need some development and also carrying a district where self they do not need development.
The whole development, Falaba, the whole development, Koinadugu, the whole I just talk about Kambia, Mange, the whole development. But they tell you specifically about Kenema about a district where 11 years, one quota not gonna grow on. 11 years. So what I am saying is this. We don't care for discuss politics. But if you not get a comparative analysis of what happened in the past, for me, I appreciate this government. This is not a government where they look at a country as a whole. We they look at development as a whole. We can look at development because we believe, say, if the north develop a good for this country, if the east develop a good for this country, the south good for the country, that's how we look at development. Not to just where you just go grab all the development, take light, take all things, look on one side. So that is what you have to say. But who side obviously they make gains, they make what them call. We can always talk about them. Like for instance, the Kiama Road Hospital, now what is start under the government, we can praise them for that.
So infrastructure now, a very big sector we can deal with now. Yeah. We see under the government, we don't like see stock infrastructure projects. One, I mentioned the Matrujong Road, where President will launch in 2018, and the plan was to finish in 2019 by December. We get the Koinadugu Falaba Road, we get the Kamakui Road, we get the Peninsula Road, and also other road projects that we stock now for long time need to go on. What thing they happen at the infrastructure sector?
Well, a lot of things that happen. When you say infrastructure, you talk about road,
the roads. I mean the roads,
energy. A lot of things that happen. Like I say. What kind of government you not can make this pile stock money stock all side? Oh, got to take no more every day we go put. These are projects the way, for instance, some of them projects they don't mismanage. So in fact, the areas that be also the contractor, it was so huge that we got to do audits for them. Because you remember saying that so for instance, if a road for made them construct one road cost for instance 20 million, then go say for instance 30-40 million. So all our way they clap on top, I they take the kickback, I take them and then they go to the project. So we need who inherit a government, we do a forensic investigation, all that thing. So don't get her. So some of the road there now, for instance, the Northway contractor you do, they continue.
Not only the Northway, they talk about the road project across Salone. We include the Pujang Road, we include the Matrujong Road, we include the Falaba Kabala Road, we include the Kamakwero, we include the Peninsula Road.
Yes.
When a road project then maybe they continue, but don't stop for now.
Now they say then stop because when we inherit say the project them be fictitious, them be farcical. It simply means say some of the amount where them put now among the way there were you kickbacks feed into them. So for instance, if you go to 20 million, they will come put the project at 30 million. All that 10 million are tiff and tiffer. So we look into that. So when government don't come, we don't look at all them contracts, we don't watch them. So who say government got for continue? They continue. And some of them would and they back also they were loans from donor partners. Them back we get for engage them and reactivate and tell them say we got for continue. But as again I could say part of the quick response to this economy for the pandemic, government also they make sure say we put the road infrastructure at the heart of it. So I don't know if you know say SLRA don't advertise, contract them for road, they make them. So we are taking.
What about the Lunge Bridge?
The Lunge Bridge. Well, obviously nobody in this country, no go oppose Lunge Bridge. We all go and make we get bridge because you go to other country that you see say if you, for instance, you carry person in this country. You are making over a free term. For common longest for come free term, you say go appreciate for.
So how far are they with that project?
Those are projects the way then they in consideration, they look at them, But again, like the COVID don't come, COVID don't affect Bok in there. So for instance, we got projects for do expansion of the airport, and all that project there. But the COVID, because now it don't challenge government small bit, all they put together, we heads and we plan for to address the COVID. But these are projects that the only way they are in consideration and they are in thought process, and therefore, as and when COVID done, and we get resources, government will continue for looking to them.
Okay.
But plans have been taken.
In name now, Yusuf Keketuma Sandi, the press secretary to presidential press secretary and spokesman. He are inside the program to talk about the president in the state opening speech where he do yesterday. The program Good Morning Salone, they continue.
We will take another issue inside the program. Plenty time violence can happen at the country. Now the Salone police can respond to the violent situation they are. Also they can use force or dialogue with the people them. And because of the way our police can respond to some situation them, community people them not into us police by dialogue. For help young people them able to get non-violence message them, make one police officer, Inspector Philip Amara, don't do one non-violence song for tell young people but the bad thing them will go happen to them when they involved by violence.
Really, why non-violence song? When you think about my career as a police officer, when I sing about non-violence, then I one way for able for help we for this work. Then I want, and secondly, I have to say Salone at the time this will be change with mindset with the youth about violence. For all the one that we send we for lunatic for causing political violence there, the young picking the oversee the study all that thing. So one day I said, I think of that when the incident there happened very recently, I said necessary for make only two way for sensitize the youth for stop violence.
Right, when you talk about violence, you know a police officer, many people believe say police they respond to violence. So why you choose not to respond from the physical aspect, but using music for calm situation down?
We now policing, we practice what we call proactive policing. The way for them say you say for who respond to something, it is proactive. They allow for it happen. So in a proactive manner, I think say when this music go to the youth, to the minds of the youth, so youth will for change the mindset, say no, that not cause violence. So I prefer a proactive than a reactive.
Right. In many cases, when people they do song, they go to shows and they go to community and perform them. Due to Corona now, they happen. But let's assume the corona ended just now and you get this kind of song. How we plan for promote at community level?
Well, actually, yes, because it is part of my job. Being a policeman, I deal with the community. I will practice what we call community policing. This they help a lot, just like what I said just now, for calling down the violence and for help work. Don't be always be reactive. Hey, when I carry something they happen here, I'm going under. So if God help with this corona down, then this song go to that speak. I don't mind for even getting moved to communities and sensitizing about non-violence.
The reason make I ask, many a times young people when they see police as enemy when it comes to fuck up violence. So I picture you going to the communities when many of them don't get too much trust in police. How you go create that kind of drama for me to realize not the police now party them.
Yeah, of course. We find out Sierra Leoneans they like music. Music they cause a lot of problem at times in the minds of Sierra Leoneans. Music they create a lot of peace and harmony in the minds of Sierra Leoneans. So in the final say Sierra Leoneans they like music. I use this channel because I know say if I go to a certain community, then see I go put set down, I hold my, I don't totally do the attention, will come around and say, but we see policeman today, and not with troncho, and not with handcuff, na set it with, na mic it with, they will be interested for can listen.
This idea na your idea or na the Sierra Leone police idea?
Well, I would say combined because that's all the work I will get the idea there. See, policing, community policing, very essential, and one of the ways that we will use for get the youth around for stop violence.
So that like the message then, within the song.
Very recently, a lot of youths them they come out with violence. Some they create some political unrest, that thing and so I watch. I see say it's necessary for that talk on that. The music they talk about for stop tribalism. Well, of course, I know say me and you two know say you not go work in a salon because you see me the man married to the woman. So tribalism not go work really. The music talk about politics. We most of the Sierra Leoneans they take party interest more than the country interest. So I talk about that in the music and so many other areas. But the focus now don't think about Mama Salone, on a one salon we get.
Now the first time you do this kind of song?
No, I don't do a song once when campaign be go on for elections. The tempo be don't raise of violence, so I come out and do one song with a SLPC no to violence. We instead been somehow help a lot for quell down some political violence before we go on the last election.
And this is not something we have to continue.
Of course.
And you also into sports, not only into policing, music, you also into sports.
Yes, I did into sports.
What kind of sports do you do?
Of course, sport general, the football, cricket.
So what are your key sports activity? Well, like, is it say, now this one interested in, this one for be professional?
Well, now football, I been play before, but I need to play now. But now the area that I can always come in, of course, I get a team, Philip FC. Then equally so, I manage the police team as a whole.
Okay, you're the manager for the police team?
Yes.
That's now Inspector Philip Amara be they talk to Alex Lawrence Koroma inside the interview day about the non-violence song where a police being for sake of violence activity in the country.
The program Good Morning Salone they continue. We still get Yusuf Keke Thomas and D inside the program. Mr. Sanders, we mentioned we get plenty sectors for look at. We still get energy, we get water, we get transportation, and we get the sludge subvention. These are all issues we look at quick inside the program. But before we come to other issues, there are Abdul Pakar on Facebook. They say Keke Thomas is being diabolical in his claim. Past government constructed roads in Kenema, Kingsway Street, Kumboya Road, Sumaila Streets and the Kenema Pendembu Highway. They are even starting the construction. They even started the construction of Blama as well.
Well, I think say something happens in itself in back a for an officer a be the travel Kenema. Now the point why they make is this, that like you mentioned, nobody know they say there are spots probably in the south and the east where they're not going to go project. But what do they say? The proportion of the project they will then go, it was imbalance. So the point where they make we reference is that when we talk about development, if we cut across this country, because the north is as important to a country like the east, like the south.
So quick one, we look at the plans of government and the president's speech on energy. Very much important.
Okay.
Now, yes.
It will find also make we start by saying when we in age we get this CAPA agreement we will get. But because we get a minister in Alaji Kanja Sise, we're very focused, we're in a people center person. And look at the contract able to save government 18 million in 2 years. So it tells you say we will inherit. Things that were good, we go carry on, but things that were bad, we go change her and make her let it become better.
So I saved them 18 million.
So not just by the contract. So each year he saved 9 million from they renegotiate in terms of the contract. Now I mean by he save that's a good thing. But also over and beyond that, there are a lot of projects that we under the leadership of Alaji Kanja say they don't do. For instance, there's the World Bank project under the Energy Sector Utility Reform Project, where they talk about for improved transmission, distribution network from Freetown and its environs. We also get project from the O1 through the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, where we look at 6 megawatts for Freetown Solar Park, at Newton. We also get project the way the minister don't do, they try for consider. For instance, remember say there was this Bumbuna 2 hydro project. They don't send people and go. Now London with the conversation now as we talk right now, and also there is a negotiation with the Chinese company for do what you don't call the Sino hydro for develop and construct and commission 160
so with
hydro.
all them projects here we get, we still get bad light or no light at all in some places then.
Yeah, like I say, the infrastructure be done bad for 11 years or more. Not to 2 years, all things will come transform one thing.
So still the important thing, sustainable life like before.
What if appreciate now this? That you get a government we don't take over, we not sit down. Government where they work. Government where you get minister, they were committed. Where they go out and get donors there for more get money. So for instance, we Exim Bank of India, we don't get soft about 78 million from them for make we do for the consultancy for the EPC contract for construct 225 kV transmission. You get ministers the way they go out there and get donors for more get money for we make sure say we make a difference.
Mr. Sandy, when you look at all them projects, time frame na a very serious concern. No time frame, no day, and we don't see government projects and we go say this not government projects, whether me or not, it will happen. Most of them things that we mentioned, not get any time frame say by 2030, by 2022, this now we plan and this now we do. And continuity in government na Salone a very serious challenge.
Now some of them you don't even begin to see the results for them. So for instance, the mini grid project. Yeah, when you talk about the solar, the PV panels them, you don't even see some of them one and they clear in the communities. But what they say is this: when they elect president, it was a 5 years mandate. That 5 years mandate there, that for me say we put in place things that will affect ordinary people in life. Me go assure una say at the end of this 5 years, we will go back to people where they vote for tell them say we don't do boku thing.
Okay.
So far so that we want back for make we get una trust and confidence for elect the president. So they are going to show.
So now look at other issues quickly before we come to sludge subvention where the president don't mention in three speech them we don't make state opening. The transport systems, we get the urban mobility project where they talk about $50 million for buses. This now one way I pick from that. One, we don't see past presidents in the last 20 to 25 years taken from President Kaba come with buses. Before in term or just after in term, no buses again. We see the same with the past president Anes Baikoma, and we see President Biosef come talk about buses. Now it talk about $50 million investment in bus services. One, when you talk about bus services, they talk about sustainability of them buses, and secondly, they talk about the road system. Very poor in the city, and you're coming with more buses. We know they sustain and not talk about infrastructure within the city. It's a very serious concern.
Well, obviously, I can understand your concerns because of the experience. But what I'm going to show you, say you get a president who believes, say, not a quick fix. You need to change this economy in 1 year, not a quick fix. What will they do now? We make sure, say, we get a plan. We are focused, we are not distracted, and anything what they do, at the end of it, like I tell you now, after 5 years, we get then go now report say we be so go do this, we don't do it. We be so go do this, we don't do it. Also we get challenges. We go tell now because we are open and transparent government. But if we also commend the government for say we don't secure this 50 million for the integrated resilient urban mobility project for ease transportation.
Other system we get what we call tram, we're very sustainable and they take up to 1,000 people. But government out continue for investing buses when it take 3 years.
Well, then in your opinion you say tram, so other person go say train, so other person go say plane. Yeah, but what they say is very simple. Service. Now they talk, you say tram, now so you feel, eh?
Some, yes.
Exactly. But then they mean say because obviously they're in government, yeah. Other people learn back they go say they go one train. The other people learn they go say they go plane, they go what this. All those are competing interests. They're all ambition. What do they do as a government? They make sure say they talk about debt. We don't put this country for too much debt. So whatever we can do now is practical. We can able to do them. Those long ambition like tram like this, as the time go on, no say we get the resources, we get the money, we go there. That's in the way. We don't go look for right train. We don't go look for right tram. These are things that way. When the time comes, government will get the facility. We will consider all things. But for now, what is practical and what government they do? So therefore, for now, don't secure this money and you for commend government. At the point down at every point, commend government.
Okay.
For what should they do?
So let's round up quickly on the issue of sludge subvention and the land space where President being promised sludge for ensure they're able to build a secretariat. What thing that happened to this project? As we see President don't mention inside speech after speech.
Well, a project we're very committed to. When get a president, we're very media friendly. We believe in press freedom. We elect the press. In fact, for the very first time, you get a president where speech after speech, they talk about say we get for change the criminal libel law. What the president with the doc, and cabinet people approve, all things happy. So it tell you say in commitment is beyond words. So therefore, even when you talk say the Ministry of Lands and Information they work on that one day, I will tell you say now conversation meeting don't take place between among sludge, the Ministry of Lands and Information for me and secure the land. They don't look at 2-3 places the way I think I understand from the Minister of Information say sludge don't say them places are not ideal, So we'll continue to get the conversation for make sure say because it's about also legacy, it's about infrastructure. And making sure say sludge is independent but also get the capacity for also develop journalism.
Yeah, so before they round up we program one set of people and we una not be include na where President Bio not be make mention of now the disabled people them. So what una don't do for disabled people them for the past 1 year?
So then people would obviously look at the policy, we get a functional commission for them. But what do they say is this, that even when we say we get locked down, these are people the president they prioritize. They give specific instruction. Say people that are disabled when a chair, we're not able to fend for themselves. We need for them support. So it tells you say beyond anything what they do, these are people that occupy a special place in president's heart and they'll continue to do so.
Okay. In your name now Yusuf Keke Thomas Sandy, press secretary and presidential spokesperson. Be there inside the program for can talk about the speech where President made yesterday to Member of Parliament them inside the opening session of Parliament, as this now the third time with President Bio they make this speech, and during this time we can talk about things them way he don't do and things them way he plan for do. Well, this edition of the program Good Morning Salone go left you for today. Plenty thank you to our studio guest Yusuf Keke Thomas and the way can inside the program. Thank you. And plenty thank you to the executive producer Michael Sambola, producer Alex Lawrence Kurma, and the rest of the Good Morning Salone production team, and DJ Amado with technical support, Franklin Pemagi, and team we make una see live na Facebook. So say next week, Musa is come out, they say bye-bye. Don't forget for listening to Princess Pierce as they come with the program Inside Parliament on Saturday. A very interesting program. Listen up, and today, don't forget for listening to the midday show program. And same way so Salone News at 7 and 9 o'clock within the B. Musa is Kamara, they say bye-bye.
And me now, Anika Oja, they say get yourself a nice day.
Alright, family, stay tuned. All that to get inside with Good Morning Salone program. We continue with more programs them out there. And as we get information, we'll let you know out there. For say good morning to you, the officer in charge of the